You're staying right.
All right, we're running about a minute late. It's already 6 o'clock. I should have started the show. Gino, what are you doing in here? Why is he here?
He's my service dog.
That's your service dog. I got to start the show. I can't live like this.
You can't what?
I can't live like this.
I'm Gary Senex, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A with Joe Abbate.
Good evening, everyone. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and I am your host, Joe Abbate. Thank you for joining me tonight. Let's do the Susie check-in first. We'll find out what she's giving away this week on the show and get an update on her health. Suze,
Hi.
what do you got going on?
Oh.
No. Forget the prizes. Tell me about your leg. Everything going better?
Oh, yeah, one more week with the boot.
Yeah.
And I'll be mobile.
One more week with just the boot.
Just the boot.
All right. There you have it, folks.
Yeah.
And you'll be back in shape.
Well, yeah, a little physical therapy, but I'm a happy camper.
It's been a wonderful.
It's been 7 weeks, so next week will be 8 weeks more.
It's been tough, and you've been a trooper through it all. What are you giving away tonight for your viewer appreciation prizes?
I have some awesome Bultaco stickers.
Yeah.
From Steve
Grandis?
Grandis from Bultaco East.
Yeah.
It's in lovely Schenectady, New York.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Oh yeah, you got that little gift bag thing, and I'm going to give one of those away too for the what's it worth segment. But you got a big Bultaco sticker for the back of your truck on the window, that AMA sticker, and a key ring. All compliments of Steve Grandis and Bultaco East. I want to thank all of our other sponsors as well, including Racer X, the International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, Bultaco East, Sirius Studio, got a great video coming up from Larry Winter in just a bit, Vintco, Full Circle Racing, Preston Petty Products, and don't forget, in the show description is a link to our donation page. You may donate through PayPal. Any amount is appreciated. We've got some other people that always support the show, like the Big Air Kids Fair, and Steve Bauer puts on a great show down there at Loma Linda Hospital every year. Trail Rider Magazine, Kirk Flash. Great publication. I have a new edition that just came in, and I've got a subscription for the year. Brab Suspension. I love those videos from Roger Neth. And of course, Steve Wise, Moto Fellowship, that happens on Facebook every Tuesday at 5:30 Central. As always, I want to thank all of our other supporters, the boots on the ground, the guys that help make the show happen. Al Keith, Karl Word, Alan Huie, Tom Miller, Larry Passman, Jay Stoecker. Tyler McGregor just sent in more money for more shirts and and aprons too. Shirts, aprons, and a donation for the show. I'm very close. What's that, Suze?
His continued support is awesome. You guys, all of you.
Yeah.
Just so appreciated.
They've done an incredible job. We are very, very close to bringing on a sponsor that everyone needs, no question about it, 428 Concepts. He is a pipe builder. He's in the Midwest. I've had a couple of conversations with him in this past week. He just got back from being on the road, delivering bikes, making copies of pipes, and doing all sorts of things to help make the vintage motocross community better. We will be talking more with Joe Sapienza in the near future. Thank you, Dave Boydton and AMS. Great place to shop for your vintage parts. It is your Vintage MX headquarters. Don't forget to follow Dave Boydton on Facebook. We have shirts. Susie makes them hot off the press. She stopped making me lasagna. She started making shirts. So she's got all the vintage motocross shirts in gray, white, black short sleeve, long sleeve, T-shirts. What? Oh, yeah, we're coming out with a yellow one, too. And don't forget the amazing cartoon that was done by Kurt Evans. If you'd like this on a shirt, black, white, gray, yellow, whatever color shirt you want it on, let me know, and we'll make that happen for you. Special thanks again to Steve Grandis and Bultaco East for being a wonderful sponsor of our show and giving away some great prizes thanks to Steve Grandis this week. Don't forget, keep sharing the show, whether you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube a little bit later on. Susie will have her viewer appreciation winner. Here's some other things that Steve Grant has sent in to us this week, and we'll be giving more away with each week. Compliments of Steve Grandis and Bultaco East. Just how I see it. Once in a while, I see things a little bit differently, or maybe I see things the same as you. Something, of course, caught all of our eye in the past week or so, and that was the $78,000 Honda CR500 that was sold in Connecticut by Ken Kaplan. The museum up there, 2001, in the crate. There it is, sold on April 18th for $78,100. I am not here to tell you whether that is a legit auction or not. In fact, I have no reason to believe it is not. But there it is, $78,100 for a 2001 Honda CR500 in the crate. What do you think, guys? Good deal? Bad deal? Things are out of control? Not believable? You think there's something going on there? I don't know. I have no reason to believe that it is not a legitimate deal. Your comments are always appreciated. You can do that while I run this video that was sent in to us by Fred Hudgens from Derf. Sometimes you get a hub and it looks like this, right? It's rusty. The liner is just about shot. You take some sandpaper, you do the best you could after you vapor blast it or bead blast it, sand it down and slap it back together. And hopefully your bike stops when that time comes. But there is a proper way to do this. It's the same way you have probably had to have it done if you have a car with drum brakes. Many of us don't have cars with drum brakes anymore, but for you hot rod guys, or your dad had one, or your grandfather certainly had one, he had a shop that would do it with a brake lathe, and I'm going to show you exactly how that works right now. This was sent into Hudgens. So here you have it. It's a brake lathe, and he does it to motorcycle hubs. All right, he puts it right in there in the bare brake lathe, and he has that tool mount that comes out very much like a metal lathe. And it goes inside there, and it takes the high spots down on your brake drum. And the camera's going to screen back in just a second. There, you can see how it's moving in a little bit each time, and that's how it works. It goes in there, and it cuts the drum, and it cuts it evenly and cuts it smoothly all the way across. Fred, I appreciate the video. You can make it a little bit longer if you want to next time, but basically that is the way it's done. Another good thing, and Fred does this as well, is he arcs the brake. You send him your hub, you could send it in the whole wheel, but if you just have the hub out of the wheel, you could send him the hub, send him the brake shoes as well on the brake plate. I think he needs it on the brake plate. He will arc those brake shoes, and you will get incredible stopping power, even though you have just a regular old-fashioned type of brake shoe. But you know what? When you think about it, guys, that stopped your grandfather's 1950 Buick that weighed about 14 tons, made of steel, and went 100 miles an hour. And they had drum brakes too. So get a hold of Fred Hudgens. You will be able to do that and get some good stopping power out of your bike. I want to thank Vintco.com for being a sponsor of our show for almost 5 years. And we were just talking about, that's right, Fred Hudgens, Derf Cycle, and Amsoil. Thank you, Russell Waters. You know what? Let's slide down there for a second, run the Vintco commercial, and we'll be back with a whole lot more. And I mean a whole lot more vintage motocross.
I'm Brock Glover, and you're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A, and we'll be right back.
Vintco, who already has a full line of vintage parts, now has air shocks that are an exact duplicate of the original air shocks so popular in the late 70s. So whether you're looking to build a full racer or museum showpiece, these shocks will give you that incredible 70s look and improve your bike's performance. These new air shocks are fully rebuildable with Vintco rebuild kits, and all shocks are hand assembled in the USA with all new components. Every component is brand new. Just like the originals, our air shocks are adjustable with 2 chambers, high and low pressure, giving you tremendous flexibility for settings of your bike suspension. The Vintco air shocks come fully assembled and ready for installation. Just add air or nitrogen. The kits include the manual and spacers. Visit Vintco.com to check out the air shocks and all that Vintco has to offer to help you get back on track and to keep that ride going.
We also have a new show supporter on the show. I wanted to mention it during the sponsor segment. It is Mike McCook, McCook Racing, and Mike also has a fabulous little page over on Facebook called Motorcyclist Illustrated. He has there since 1923. Mike is only about my age. I don't know what happened in 1923, but Motorcyclist Illustrated. It's for street bikes, off-road, dual-purpose bikes, and Mike is a motocrosser as well. Check it out on Facebook or go to McCookracing.com. McCookracing.com is the first place I ever gave an interview, and I bet you it's a better part of 20 years ago. What's It Worth segment tonight is brought to you by Full Circle Racing. Thank you, Tom McAllister and Full Circle Racing, for all you do for us here at the show. What's it worth? And we've got more gifts, okay? Susie's got some stuff to give away from Steve Grandis, and I'm going to be giving away 2 stickers like this, Vintage Motocross Q&A stickers, okay? Put those on your truck or on your bike. I've also got a key ring, compliments of Steve Grandis, and he sent me about a half a dozen or a dozen of these. It says Bultaco on both sides, right? But it's a Ziploc bag. It's a Ziploc bag, just like this. And it's got some like a aluminum lining inside, like a sippy bag, whatever you call them. Now look, I don't know what is that, Suze? You put your sandwich in there when you go to races. You can clean your goggles and put them in there. You can put, you know what I seen Steve do with these? He puts trail mix in there. Then he walks around the swap meet. A little snack. Yeah, does it all the time. Steve, I love what you sent us. Thank you. We're going to be giving these away and other stuff right now. Let's get back to the What's It Worth segment. Today, we're looking at a 1980 Husqvarna OR 390. And I'm going to read to you what's been done to the bike and other things from the Bring a Trailer sale. You're going to tell me what the bike recently sold for, as close as you possibly can. And whoever does that is going to get that stuff from Steve Grandis. 80 Husqvarna 390 OR underwent refurbishment work in its second owner, from whom it was acquired by the seller in 2018. It is powered by a 384cc two-stroke single paired with a 6-speed transmission. Features Öhlins remote reservoir shocks, gold finished alloy rims, a cross-braced handlebar, an expansion chamber exhaust system, and a side stand. It was repainted under the current ownership, and it has a 21-inch front wheel, and this, guys, has a 17-inch rear rim. It is mounted to a set of Kenda knobbies. The 390 OR is offered at no reserve in California for off-road use only. It only has a bill of sale. It has a 3-gallon aluminum gas tank. It is finished in black. The sides are polished. The graphics are, of course, finished in gold. The silver finish on the chromoly single down tube frame has a 31.5 degree of rake and features an extra frame tube that runs lengthwise under the engine case. Equipment includes plastic high mount fenders, yellow side plates, front number plates. The chain was recently replaced as well. And there's a real good shot of the gas tank. It does look very, very nice. And it appears to be in really original condition. Now, they say a refurbishment. I don't know what that exactly means on Bring a Trailer, but this bike looks like it is in very, very nice original condition. The gold bars, I believe, are stock, and all the hardware looks original on it. It looks a little tired, but you know what? We're talking about a 45-year-old motorcycle. 45 years. Unbelievable. And look at the rims. Look at the sides of those rims. They're not gouged up. They don't have tire iron marks on them. Anyway, I think it was a real nice bike, and I want to hear from you, the viewers at home, how much you think this bike recently sold for. $3,500? $4,500. You'd have gone for $6,000 on the mighty OR Husqvarna. This bike sold for $3,500 plus a 5% buyer's premium, which puts it up there around, I don't know, 10% is $350. Half of that, $170, about $175 more. Let's call it $3,700. Whoever gets the closest to $3,700 without going over. Phil Agapio or Agapio. You know, I'm friends with Phil a long time. No, I've always pronounced it Agapio. Phil, congratulations. Get me your address. I will be happy to send you a key ring, some vintage motocross Q&A stickers, and this Bultaco East bag. What's that?
Jerry Larice, too. 4500.
Jerry?
Sherry.
Sherry?
Yeah. Sherry Larice.
Yeah, but it was it only sold for 30. She's way over.
45.
Way over.
Oh, you said 35.
That's right, 35 plus a couple of hundred for the
So
Phil Agapio.
Agapio. Yeah. There you go.
All right. Phil Agapio.
Phil Agapio.
Get me your address, Phil. I'll get you some of these nice gifts that were given to us by Steve Grandis. 5 years ago this weekend that we lost Marty and Nancy Smith. It's incredible how fast the time has gone by. There is a page on Facebook with a lot of great memories and pictures of Marty and Nancy Smith. 5 years. There probably isn't a day goes by that I don't think of Marty, because I do have some posters and things out here in my shop of Marty from those great times.
Is it 5 years today?
5 years this weekend. It will be 5 years on the 27th of April.
Oh,
So
I think it's Monday.
it's Monday.
Yeah.
It's Monday. I apologize. Anyway, that's it. 5 years. Think of Marty quite often, and every couple of months I think to myself, I haven't spoken to Marty in a while.
Yeah.
Someday we'll all speak together again. Rest in peace, Marty and Nancy Smith.
I get asked often, what's the most important thing on Clunker? Answer simple, it's me. That's why I use Full Circle racing wheels prepped by Tom McAllister. So should you. Watch this and learn why. When racing vintage motocross where suspension is very limited, your wheels can be the difference between winning or serious injury. We chose to run Full Circle racing wheels because of the super high quality materials and the heavy duty spokes used. Prepped by Tom McAllister, I have the confidence on the track to push way harder through the rough stuff and the bigger jumps, knowing my wheels are going to stay under me. Hey, Clunker may be 50 years old, but his wheels are brand new, and yours should be too. Call Tom McAllister at Full Circle Racing today.
Okay, we are back live at Vintage Motocross Q&A. We were live at Vintage Motocross Q&A. There we go. And yeah, Russell, Tom McAllister and Full Circle Racing. I've had wheels done by him, spokes, nipples, lacing, and truing. He's a Buchanan dealer. He gets Excel, he gets did rims, he gets things that other people don't get too from other suppliers. Be sure to get up there on his website. Take a look at what Tom McAllister has for your on-road, off-road, dual-purpose bike, whatever it may be. This is one of my new favorite segments of the show. Dave's Classic Corner. I love the videos that Dave Boydston has put together for us here. He's actually put them together for himself, and I just thought that they were so fabulous that I would enjoy having them here on the show, sharing them with the viewers. And these are sometimes bikes that Dave has for sale, or sometimes they're just in his personal collection. He bought them. He has a vast collection of bikes out there in Arizona. So we're going to get another bike up here from Dave Boydston and Dave's Classic Corner.
Videos about a 1947 Velocet 500 Venom motor in a Rickman chassis, one of only two built. This one was Brad Kennard's from Des Moines, Iowa. These are his racing numbers. Used CZ wheels on it, CZ forks, even CZ triple clamps, which looks great on it. It's one of two bikes built. His friend that built the engine in England had two of these frames built by the Rickman brothers. This is as I found it in his garage. Brad had a electric bicycle accident, and that was why I was in there helping the family with his bikes. I saw this bike race at Casey, Illinois years ago. Velocet 500 single in 47 was the first 500 British single to do 100 miles an hour as a street bike. Beautiful engine, massive transmission. The tank was intentionally cut away for clearance of the rocker box up there. It's a great example of the Velocet Venom in a Rickman Mark I chassis. Put your Le Mans gas cap on it. Look at that steering stem head nut on that thing. Heavy duty. Hamel carburetor Marzocchi Shocks, it says on it. Avon's fiberglass company. He's got the actual CZ rims are on it too. More modern grippy pegs. Is that the longest brake pedal ever on a motorcycle? And there's its VIN number right there. Looks like he had a couple of zip ties to keep a spark plug cap from popping off. But a rare Rickman that was sold that wasn't nickel plated, with a Velocet 500 single in it. There you go.
Where are you going to get information like that? Only a Vintage Motocross Q&A from Dave Boyden. All right, and don't forget, follow Dave Boyden on Facebook. He'd like you to follow him under his personal name, Dave Boyden. Yes, he does have AMS Racing as well. And there's his phone number on there in the event you should want to call Dave about some parts or maybe some bikes that you have for sale that you might want to sell to Dave. He's always in the market for something all the time. You know what? I'm going to do something I don't normally do here. I did it between commercials before. I'm bringing up the names of the people that are watching the show. Rosado Katasai. I've never seen you here before. Welcome to the show. Kenneth Klaus. Never seen you here before. Welcome to the show. George Ackerman, a belated happy birthday, Richard Lotz. I've got an Edward Brechka. Thank you. Mike McCook. Pat Young. I don't believe I've ever seen your name on the list before. James LaPaz, I have. Al Roof, God bless you. Speed Ratchet Cycle Restoration, thank you. Mark Trehar. Beautiful CZ Restoration Builder. Achilles Caracas. Decanis Achilles. Phil Agapio, Tyler McGregor, and so many more. I just had to jump on there just for a second and bring up those names just to give you a personal welcome and thank you so much for supporting us here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Next segment up is Here's the Problem. It is brought to you by Motion Pro for all your tools, cables, and controls. And when you want to do a job like an expert, get over to Motion Pro. Let's look at the first question. Kelly Holmes. Kelly Holmes is the phone that this came from, but I know this question is actually from Tim Whitehouse. Joe, I have a 1976 Honda CR250 tank that has a rattle can paint job on it. I was told by the previous owner that it has Bondo under the paint. Oh, then you can count on it having it. It has a couple of shallow dents also. What do you suggest? I would suggest you stripping that paint right off of it. Use a sander if you can't get a good stripper, which you can't really find anything good anymore. But look, we know it's got Bondo in there, and you know that the paint is weak. Take a palm sander, take some 80 or 180 grit, go over that thing lightly, get all the paint off, and you've had 3 tanks fixed by me so far, Tim, and painted by Brian Fettigan. And you did mention that this will be the 4th. It will. I'd be happy to do the job for you. I will be able to give you an accurate estimate when you give it to me without paint. Okay? But don't be shy. Take a sander, strip the paint off. You're not going to hurt it. And then we'll see just how much Bondo is actually underneath there. And that's my recommendation for anybody that has a tank that way, that if it's aluminum or steel and you're looking to repair it, steel, it's easy. Run a magnet over it. When the magnet does not stick, that's where the Bondo is. On an aluminum tank, it's not that easy, but sand it and you'll find out what's going on. Question number 2, Mike Baskovich. Hey, Joe, my 1980 Honda CR250 has a bad rebound clunk in the forks. Any idea what could be causing that? Yes, I do. The first thing could be something as simple as you do not have a high enough viscosity oil in your fork. So when it rebounds, you're getting that clunking sound. Now, I'm going to do this like this. This is your damper rod. See, here's a little spring right here. Okay. This is your lower fork leg. This piece goes down in here, and you have that Allen screw at the bottom. That's what holds your forks together. This also goes through the chrome stanchion tube like this. Now, it would go from one end. You'd let it drop all the way down and it would come out the other end. This thing has a bushing inside of it, or it's machined with a bushing inside of it. So this spring and this damper cannot come out the other end of this. You are probably hearing a sound like this. I'm sorry, this end. You're probably hearing something like this. When you're riding over bumps, stuff like that. You either are missing this spring that somebody took off, maybe put a fork kit in the bike, who knows, and that's what you're hearing is this bushing hitting that bushing inside the fork tube, and that's why you're getting that clunking sound. Take the forks apart, service them, change the seals, take a look and see if that little rebound spring is in there. If it's not, that's why you have clunking. If you want to just drain them first and then get some fresh oil in there, some fresh fork oil, that's worth a shot. But that's more than likely where that sound is coming from. I remember having a little Bridgestone TMX 100 when I was a kid. It didn't have that rebound spring in there. And the second the fork oil got even low, because yes, they did leak. The second that fork got even low, it would start making that sound when you went over little bumps like that. I want to thank Russell Waters for being a sponsor of our show. Actually, a show supporter, and he was a sponsor at one time too. But thank you, Russell. And you've got all these wonderful products, including gun cleaners, lubricants, spray grease, and so much more. I love all the AMSOIL products, and you're going to love it too. Now, got a new segment coming up, and it's called Works for Me. I sat down with Terry Good earlier today. We made a little video about a very, very interesting part. This takes a couple of minutes, but I can assure you, you're just gonna love this. Okay, so check this out. Terry Good and I having a conversation about a cast magnesium carburetor. Where are you, Terry?
Works for me.
Oh, works for me. Here it is. Add to the stage. And here and it's just. Well, you know what, Terry? Let's get to the recording. First of all, thank you for stopping in and taking the time to talk to us today about this very rare and unusual part. When you think about a carburetor, we all think about Kins and Makunis and Amels and things like that. But what we have here is something very special. I think we should talk, first of all, about the bike that it came from. So what do we have here?
Okay, that's a 1972 RC 250.
Okay.
So that was Honda's. Keep in mind, back in 72, the 250 evolved from the 335A, then it went to the 335B, C, and then finally the D. But what derived from that was the RC, and the RC would be Honda's best effort. So that would be the best that they got out of the whatever version out of the 335.
Okay.
And that would be their best performing bike. That would be the number one bike. Okay. And the carburetor that we're talking about was the carb that went on that bike.
Okay. What I want to do is, maybe some people are not familiar with the word sandcast. Maybe you could give us just a brief background. I have something here that shows not a motorcycle part, but it is a sand casting. So I'll pop that up on the screen. You look at the picture and maybe give everyone a little bit of a brief background of how a part might be manufactured. I mean, this is a sand cast mold right here.
Yes, that is.
Okay. So how do they put a carburetor? Because see here, Terry, here's what was so absolutely unbelievably amazing to me when I look at this carburetor. When I think about the passages and the choke and how the slide goes in, and we think about the precision of a carburetor on our production bikes, how do they get that out of something like this?
Well, the guys are very talented. It's almost a lost art right now for guys that sandcast. You know, the entire engines were made. The cases, the cylinders, everything was made from sand casting. And the advantage of it was you could make changes to the design. And they did. They made many changes to these things, and they could make low production runs. And so if an engineer had an idea, like, for example, this carburetor, they could cast it. And it would be a casting, and there'd be actual blueprints for that. And then they would go in and precision machine the balance, the real critical parts. And so that's how, that was the reason for it. And,
so what you're saying is that they're going to take a casting like this, a box with sand in it, and they're going to make that carburetor has no passages. It's one block. What will they put in there to give the shape of the sand? Will it be something that's machined out of aluminum previously, or sometimes I've even seen it done in wood or plastic? What is it that they take the original dye from, I guess you would call it, and how do they put that in the sand? Is it one piece?
Yeah, they would machine. Well, in the carburetor, you have a float bowl, you have the main body, there's a few parts to it. So they would machine that out of like balsa wood or Bob Hanna.
Okay.
Or balsa wood or, aluminum. Yeah, they could machine it. They could make the mold out of several different materials. And then they would make the casting and then pour the magnesium or aluminum or what have you into that, and then machine it from there, like machine that float bowl, that surface flat, so there's no so it doesn't leak. So that's how they did it, and it was really handy for low production runs and experimental parts.
Why sometimes, Terry, why sometimes aluminum, sometimes magnesium?
I don't know. That you'd have to, and there's various, once they cast it, there's various, depending on the metal they cast it in, it shrinks. So they have to make it, maybe 3% larger for magnesium and maybe just 1% larger for aluminum. I'm not, all of that goes into the equation.
Why the gold color? Why the gold color? What is that?
Okay, that's a treatment. It's not a spray. I'm actually holding that carb right here. That's a treatment that I believe it was electronically applied to it so it wouldn't corrode.
Was it called Aladine, I think, at the time, or anodine? It's not anodizing. I know that.
No, it's not anodizing. That's correct.
Is that the same coating that we see on CZ hubs at times?
Very similar. I don't know if it's identical to it, but yeah, that's the idea. Exactly.
What is the dimension of this carburetor? 36 millimeter, 34?
No, this one is really unique. And this is why they probably did that to this one. First of all, it is a very expensive process to make a part.
Yeah.
But this one here has an oval bore.
When you're talking about the bore, you're talking about the slide?
No.
You're talking about the bore all the way through. In other words, at the intake.
From the Venturi, the other side.
The other side.
Yeah, there. Okay, from that side.
Yes.
If on this particular carb, if you went from top to bottom, the top dimension would be, and that's in the bore of the carb, not that Venturi that acts as like a velocity stack.
Okay.
So that would be 37 millimeters, top to bottom, and then from left to right, it's only 31 millimeters. So it's an oval.
Okay.
And that symmetrically transitions to the intake part, the part that attaches to the cylinder. That will be, yes, that is completely round there. So if you went from that point back to the Venturi, the bore would be oval.
The jets, etc., the needle, the pilot, stock Honda stuff?
That's all special for this unique carburetor. And the purpose for that oval bore was they were addressing the low part of the power band. So the right to left, the 31 millimeters would address, give it more low RPMs. Mm-hmm. And then the 37, the top to bottom, is the slide opened all the way up. You see? The slide opens all the way up. Now it's 37 millimeters.
Oh, okay.
And that gives it the high RPM. And it was effective. A lot of the Monday morning quarterback guys today will go, well, obviously it didn't work because they didn't use it. They don't use it now. or they didn't use it later or something like that. But that's not necessarily true. There's a lot of, it goes all the way up the scale from manufacturing costs to even politics. The head guy at this project, there was politics involved, whether this idea or that idea was used or not. It's just a fact. And so this worked. Okay. And it was also used later, and I have examples of that too, of the later arts.
Terry, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the questions are coming so quickly in my mind, and we only have so much time. Do you have drawings of these carburetors from the factory when they designed it for the International Motocross Museum? Okay.
I have a lot of drawings from Works parts, but not this particular one.
And as far as what do you think, or do you know for a fact, what do you think it took in time and research and development to create that carburetor? And in the end, what do you feel the value of it was?
I know the later the ones in the middle to late 70s were about $7,000 a piece.
$7,000 for just one carburetor to make.
Yes, that's correct. That's what Suzuki or Honda or someone like that would pay Mikuni or Key, to buy those carbs. Yes.
Okay. Now that may be another thing that people overlook, is that they did, I guess you could say, subcontract that work, whether it was forks or whether it was carburetors at that time, to those manufacturers.
Correct. They would, it could be a Honda engineer's design. Maybe it was a guy from Mikuni or something like that designed it and told, So there was a lot of mishmash going back and forth. But yeah, they were very, very expensive. Those sand cast carbs, magnesium was also used in road race. Keep in mind that in the early 70s, weight was a huge deal, as was pioneered by Hirohide Tamaki's work with Suzuki and Joel Robert and those guys. So weight was a huge deal, and every ounce counted. And so these bikes, they were looking for weight savings everywhere in all parts of the bike.
Yeah. Terry, I'm really excited about having you on now with this new segment that we're doing. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's called Works for Me with Terry Good. And Terry, you know what? We were on the phone and you were telling me about something else, and I just want to tease the crowd a little bit. We'll have you on for another segment next week. You've got a trick swing arm you wanted to have on the show. Tell us about that just briefly.
Yeah, it's I bought all these bikes, or all these parts and bikes from DeCoster were delivered back in 2019. It's now 2025, and since we're going to be opening the museum this year, I'm just now, believe it or not, opening some boxes that I've never opened before. And here was this brand new RN78 factory Suzuki swing arm, with all the titanium hardware, the bolts, everything, all never used, still has the part number written on it. And the weight, you pick it up in it's so light you can't believe it. And so I thought maybe we could talk about that on your show next week.
We will, Terry. We'll talk on the phone. We'll set up a time to make another video of that swing arm. But for now, I want to thank you, the International Motocross Museum, and for giving us some great contributions to the show, and a fascinating story about the carburetor as well. There it is. Terry Good, the International Motocross Museum. Terry, we'll talk again real soon, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, sir. Terry Good in the International Motocross Museum. Where are you getting content like this, fellas? Where? What? What's that? Correct. No place.
Okay. I'm Barry Higgins. You're watching Vintage Motocross Q&A. We'll be right back.
Motocross struck America, coming from Europe like a lightning bolt, striking the hearts and minds of people all across the country and the world. Battles of intense racing and cutting rivalries with loyalty to brands and heroes intensified as years of blood, sweat, and dirt flew through the minds of those memories of champions as they wrestled their machines through almost impossible tracks. But where are those past champions? And where are their bikes? Terry Good, an ex-pro motocross racer, has made it his life mission to honor these heroes and the bikes they rode to stardom. We raced, we rode, we lived and breathed motocross. Go back in time and relive those moments, now preserved for the first time ever in the world's first museum dedicated to the history of motocross. Our new building is in the gate. Help us get a great start and you can be part of history. Go to internationalmotocrossmuseum.org and become a part of our team.
The International Motocross Museum is a not-for-profit 501c3 organization. Be sure to visit them online at www.theinternationalmotocrossmuseum.org. Suze,
Yeah.
we'll put you on camera here.
Yeah.
You're giving some cool stuff away tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you got? The Bultaco sticker, the big AMA sticker,
Yeah.
and
Little Ziploc
the
bag.
Ziploc bag and the key. Who won this stuff?
Well, that would be going to Achilles Caracas.
Achilles Caracas.
Yeah, because my Achilles tendon was severed.
That's why you chose him?
Yes.
All right. Achilles Caracas. Get us your mailing address, my friend, and we will send you those beautiful gifts, compliments of Steve Grandis and Bultaco East.
Yeah, all this cool stuff.
I want to thank Sunrise Vapor Blasting and FastGuyStuff.com, of course, for being show supporters. Ben's Mini Bike Podcast. Great little show on Sunday nights. I think it's the second Sunday of each month. Ben's Mini Bike Podcast. And you've been hearing the name all night, but guy's doing a lot for us here at the show. Steve Grandis, Bultaco East. When you go over there and you click on his website, go to parts. Then you scroll down and you'll see the Vintage Motocross Q&A specials. 3 weeks ago, this was the special, the McGregor Control Kit. $179 retail, $144.95 from Steve Grandis, shipping included. Last week, Hagen shocks, 13.5-inch Hagen shocks, regular price $280 from Bultaco East and Steve Grandis, $230, shipping included. What do we got this week? McGregor 314 Duo Throttle. It is no longer produced by McGregor. Regular retail $46 from Steve Grandis, shipping included $36. Get over to Bultaco East and Steve Grandis. Earlier in the show, I talked about Mike McCook and that we're going to have some really, really cool, not some, but one very cool giveaway. Now, this is perhaps and arguably one of the most famous pictures ever snapped in motocross history. It is Jim and Jimmy Weinert and Tony DeStefano. This was taken on August in 1974 at Hillsboro, Ohio. It is a 500 national that was going on there. In the next turn, Jimmy did go down, and DeStefano went on. I don't know who won that race. It might have been Tony D. But anyway, back in 2004, Mike McCook and McCook Racing were sponsors of ARMA Northeast Regionals, okay? He laid out some money, put up trophies, did a lot to help support ARMA in the Northeast. Now, when he did that, he was given a box of posters like this. Now, this is the cover of Racer X from 2004, but it is not the size of the cover of a magazine. It is poster size. We will be giving these away in limited numbers, very limited numbers, coming up starting next week, okay? We'll be doing that starting next week. You'll be getting a chance at a poster like that. And you know what? Weinert's got his motocross school down in North Carolina. Tony DeStefano's out there. Be a great time to find a way to get those two motocross legends to autograph those posters. But you'll only be able to get that poster right here at Vintage Motocross Q&A. Did you know? I tell you one thing I know. I wish I would have ran a video before this segment because the pages are a couple of pages long, but it's really, really good information. The past couple of weeks, you've been talking about viscosity and oil. With all due respect to Russell Waters, who is a supporter of the show, and he is with AMSOIL. We talk about some other different oils here and viscosity. But we are going to continue on with that right now. 2 weeks ago, we talked about the motor oil and how it was developed. Then last week, we showed how viscosity was significantly defined and how it is measured. In our third segment, the final installment of the mysteries of motor oil and development in viscosity, we'll explore the question, did you know what the viscosity index is and how multigrade or multi-viscosity oils are produced? If you recall from our prior show, the viscosity of a motor oil is usually measured in the units of centipoise and centistokes with a scientific perspective. But those two measurements are pretty much foreign to the average consumer. So engineers had come up with a way that was easier and simpler means to describe motor oil viscosity and how a specific oil reacts to temperature changes. Around the time of the Great Depression, chemical engineers Ernest Woodard and Garland Davis worked at the Standard Oil Company. They developed a system called the Viscosity Index, or VI. The VI is an arbitrary, unitless measure of a fluid's change in viscosity relative to the temperature that changes it. A higher viscosity index oil means the viscosity changes less with the temperature than oil with a lower viscosity index. After the Dean and Davis development, the VI system was soon adopted by the Society of Automotive Engineers as standard, now called J300 for viscometric properties of motor oils. By the current SAE SJ300 standard, the viscosity grades of oil are OW, 5W, 10W, 15, 20, 25, and then, of course, you have 18, 12, 60, 30, 40, 50, and 60. The single-grade motor oils are often referred to as straight-weight oils. The grades of the W designations are considered winter grades. Thus, the W, that denotes oil's lower temperature properties, while non-winter grades indicate the oil's properties when they have at the engine's operating temperature, which is usually around 212 degrees Fahrenheit. To assign winter grades, the dynamic viscosity is measured at various temperatures from a high of negative 10 degrees Celsius down to minus 35 degrees Celsius or minus 31 Fahrenheit. The oil fails the test at a particular temperature if it becomes too viscous to meet the pumping criteria for the test. For example, if an oil passes the test at specified temperature of 10W and 5W but fails at the OW temperatures, the oil is graded at 5W. The higher VI numbers of a gear oil, talking like 75 to 140, does not necessarily mean that it has a higher viscosity than that of an engine oil like 20W or 50. It didn't take long for lubricant engineers to realize the single-grade motor oils were a nuisance in various parts of the country that experienced drastic seasonal changes. Older auto manuals even listed a recommendation multiple oil changes throughout the year. As the name implies, a multi-grade oil meets the requirements of multiple testing grades, one W grade and one single grade, like 5W, 30, and 40. Multi-grade oils are typically created by blending a low viscosity base with viscosity index improvers, or VIs. These improvers are specialized long-chain hydrocarbon polymers that react to temperature changes. At low temperatures, at cold engine start, these polymers remain small and compact, but they expand effectively and thicken the oil as the engine warms up. As the engine cools, the polymers return to their smaller, compact state. As an example, 5W30 oil will flow easily at cold temperature, like 5-weight oil, then provide a robust lubrication and protection at high operating temperatures, like a 30-weight oil does. Besides the viscosity index improvers, today's multi-grade engine oils are marvels of chemical engineering. They also contain anti-wear additives, detergent sludge dispersions, and corrosion inhibitors, all designed to keep whatever engine you have running at peak and efficiency with a minimal amount of wear. And there you have it. And we're going to show that AMSOIL can at the end because Russell Waters is our local oil expert. But Jeff Kokoski, I want to thank you once again for giving us some really, really great information on oils and how you should really take the time and research what your manufacturer asks you to use, whether it's in a car, a truck, a lawnmower, a motorcycle, whatever it might be. There are differences. Subtle differences. If you're really in those cold areas, it could be in the great Northeast, could be anywhere. But it really does make sense to take the time to do the research to get the right oil for your car, motorcycle, lawnmower, tractor, whatever it may be. I want to thank Larry Winters and his son Rick and the Winters family for Sirius Studios. They have some beautiful gear there at Sirius Studios, Susie.
Yeah.
Oh, they've got incredible stuff. Hats, shirts, gear bags, and I love the fabric. The fabric breathes. It's a nice thick cotton. It feels toasty on your body, and yet you feel free to move about in it. Now, get over to SiriusStudio.co, get yourself some gear. Larry Winters is one of the most generous people, and you never hear about it. I got a little video right here about Larry Winters, and it's going to give you a warm, fuzzy feeling. Watch this.
In the early 70s. And back then, especially on the East Coast of America, motocross was really just a West Coast thing. There was very few people racing in North Carolina. And when he had kids, he knew that he wanted them to race. And so he bought a little JW50 or a JR50. Eventually, my dad started seeing these kids at the track who really didn't have a lot of opportunity. They had a lot of passion. They had a lot of talent. They came from great families. They were good kids. And my dad wanted to bless them a little bit. And so he started sponsoring some kids. He started giving them a little bit of money to get to the races on the weekends. And that was honestly where Sirius Racewear was born. So he started selling t-shirts to kind of offset some of the costs, but it was just a passion project. And we ended up sponsoring a lot of really good kids and making a lot of really good friends. We ended up sponsoring kids like Mike McDade from Pennsylvania. And he ended up living with us for a couple years, actually. And man, he was like the older brother I never had.
Mike McDade. Sportsmanship. This is Mike McDade. He's riding that 1110 Mods bike. He hears Will Hahn right there yelling, waving his hand. See the smoke coming off.
Brock Tickle obviously went on to win a Supercross championship in the lights class. And he's world famous in the racing community. Really, really good pro rider and just an all-around good guy.
And this championship is going to go to Brock Tickle.
Taylor Futrell had a great amateur career. We were looking back, and man, that kid was so fast. I think his first or second pro national ever. He got top 5. I think he podiumed one moto at Southwick.
It's the 977, and we mentioned this guy earlier in the day in our first photo coverage at AlliedSports.com. Taylor Futrell in his second professional race. This guy's not intimidated.
You know, guys like Kyle Peters, who 5-time arena cross champion, broke his neck, wasn't sure if he was ever going to come back, and ended up winning another championship after that injury. And this was a guy that we sponsored when he was on 65s and 85s back in the day. We just wanted to see.
If you want to see more of this video, go on the Vintage Motorcars Q&A page tomorrow. I will post it. It's very, very interesting. Larry Winters has helped out a lot of people along the way, a lot of famous guys. And he also helped out some not so famous people when they were injured and supported them. And as you heard a minute ago, gave them places to live. That's the guy who is behind Sirius Studio. Now, I just got breaking news from George Ackerman that his...
It's from
Ben's Mini Bike Podcast, but it is about the Ackerman event, isn't it? The Ackerman event, which was scheduled for the Moto Barn on April 26th, which was a Saturday from 10 to 4, has been moved to Sunday. It's been moved to Sunday from 10 to 4. That is in Ruther Glen, Virginia. The event that was for Saturday, the 26th, will now be on the 27th. They're expecting some weather there. But yeah, the show will go on, but it will go on the 27th. Okay? I want to thank Roger Neff and Wrap Suspension. He's real busy at the shop this week. Wasn't able to put a video together for us, but he is a big supporter of the show. Gives us a really informative video every week, and he's a lot of fun to listen to, too. Roger Neff, Wrap Suspension. This Week in Motorcars History is brought to you by RacerX.com. Be sure to visit them online at RacerX.com. Or you can go to the newsstand and hang out there. 1978 future AMA Hall of Fame Mark Barnett got his first AMA 125 national win in his career at Rio Bravo, Texas, finally beating Yamaha's Brock Glover after trailing him in the early part of the series. Honda rider Warren Reed also got the better of Brock with a runner-up finish to Brock's third. It's 1981. Yamaha's Bob Hurricane Hanna got his first AMA Supercross win in almost 2 years at the Pontiac Silverdome. Hanna had been a huge part of the 77 through 79 AMA Supercross Championship, but he suffered a broken leg while water skiing in the late summer of 1979. He missed all of the 1980 season and finally came back in 81. Suzuki's Ken Howerton finished second, and defending AMA Supercross champion Mike Bell took a third on that evening. 1982. While most were expecting American expat Danny Laporte to be the first man to challenge George Abbate in the FIM 250cc World Championships, it was another Yank who got scored in an upset win at the second round of Spain. Husqvarna's Mike Guerra, who hailed from New England, went 4-1 to take the overall win at Sabadell, the same circuit where 10 years earlier Jim Pomeroy became the first American to ever win a Grand Prix. Abbate finished second overall with KTM's Heinz Kinnegadner third. Laporte struggled for the second race in a row, finishing 9 and 10, but his good races were soon to come. And of course, we all know how that went. Danny Laporte was the 1982 250 world champion. Let's get on to the announcements and then we'll wrap up the show. ACR MX, my good buddy Mike Payeski, back there in New York. They ride at the best tracks. This is the best vintage club around. Unadilla, Broome Tioga, Southwick, I mean, you name it. Go over to their website. They've got races running all year long. Debbie Burnworth, she's got another race coming up on May 18th at Verona MX. Huge hit at Paris Raceway on April 12th. If you were there, we're going to be sending some more goodies down to Debbie Burnworth. She can give them away there for the SoCal Classic. Scott Burnworth. We miss you terribly, Scott. TC, that's right, Tomahawk. Tommy Croft's birthday is today. Happy birthday, Tommy Croft. A wonderful guy, a great champion, a legend in the sport. Tommy Croft. You know whose birthday it was yesterday? Gary Jones. Another good guy, 3-time national champion, 4-time if you count the Inter-Am Championship, the one and only Gary Jones. Happy birthday, fellas. I just mentioned a moment ago that the Moto Barn event, which is scheduled for the 26th, a Saturday, will be moved to Sunday due to the incooperative weather. Race schedule for the Northwest is out. Go over to your Armor pages, guys. Go to the Armor Northwest, Armor Northeast, Armor Southeast, whatever it might be. You can see all the events and all the things that are happening there. You want to become a Vintage Motocross Q&A sponsor? I would love to have you. Steve Granda says he might have to open up a new location for Bultaco East. He's gotten so much business during the last month. Either way, it's not as expensive as you think, and you get a lot of bang for your buck, reaching over 1 million people every 90 days. Thank you. Racer X, International Motocross Museum, Motion Pro, Vinco, FullCircle.com, Preston Petty, Sirius, and of course, Bultaco East. There's another event coming up here at the Three Hills Motocross Track. That's in Nebraska City, Nebraska. This doesn't happen until a little bit later on, I think in August, okay? The CZ races this weekend. Go up there and support my dear friend, Rick Neighbor, Daryl Johnson, and everybody who really works hard and have worked hard for many, many years for the CZ World Championship. I, unfortunately, will not be able to make it this year, but I did get a nice call from Rick Neighbors today and Daryl Johnson and a lot of text messages as well. So I do want to encourage everyone to have a safe ride. Go up there, have a great time at the CZ World Championship. That wraps it up for Joe Abbate and Vintage Motocross Q&A. I want to thank you for joining us. Don't forget, go over to the page tomorrow, and you'll see the rest of the Larry Winners video. It's really pretty cool. And, yeah, that about wraps it up. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to our winners. Thank you all for our new viewers. I wish I could give you all something every week. I really, really do.
Order shirts.
Oh, yeah, don't forget to order shirts, too. This is a Motion Pro shirt. But we have some really great shirts, and we put up posts about them all the time. Gino! Get up here.
Oh, good job, Handbone.
There he is.
The Handbone.
Gino. Thanks for watching the show. Again, we'll see you next time on Vintage Motocross Q&A.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.